I'd like to know, why can't we say anything bad about Jewish people? Can't we say anything we want in America? Aren't we protected by free speech? Jewish people suffered the Holocaust, which has ended. Black people, African American people, suffered slavery, which has not ended. Here in America, we can talk about anything or anyone else, but not Jewish people. We are going to talk about it today in light of recent events, which I will mention. Stay tuned for this one. Maybe you might learn something. Maybe you might have something to say, and I'll give you the opportunity to do that as well. Buckle up. The Mike's Opinion podcast is talking free speech, Jews, the Holocaust, Black people, and slavery.
You are now listening to Mike's Opinion, Logic Unleashed.
That's right. You are now listening to the Mike's Opinion podcast. I thank you so much for tuning in. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. We got a loaded one today, and I'm going to try to tap dance and walk the tightrope before I get canceled. And I can't get canceled because I ain't even hired yet. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still trying to grow the show, still trying to make the show blow. I need your help to do that. Please like, share, comment, follow, subscribe, do all that stuff. If support the show any way you can. If you can do so monetarily, I would greatly appreciate it. Links in the show notes to PayPal, my GoFundMe, Venmo, Cash App. Hit me up, mikesopinionshow@gmail.com. Via email. Again, that's mikesopinionshow@gmail.com if you'd like to make a substantial, sizable contribution to the show, and I will gladly send you my mailing address. That would be greatly appreciated. I started out this episode with some questions. Now, to preface this, if you don't know, Kanye West, Yeezy, currently known as Yee or Ye. I don't know. Never met the brother, don't know the brother, and I want to say for the record, I'm not advocating for the brother. I'm not here to defend Kanye West. That is not the reason for this episode. The reason for this episode are the questions that I ask because I'm watching this whole thing evolve, right? Kanye been controversial. Typically, it's cyclical. Before he has something to sell or promote, he'll do something controversial to shine a light on himself, like wearing a MAGA hat or, going to award shows saying the president doesn't care about black people. He's got a history of stuff like this. And a lot of people suspect it's a brilliant way to sell shit. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure that this brother just don't say shit. And it may be a combination. Maybe he wants to promote and sell shit. Maybe he really believes this stuff that comes out of his mouth. Maybe he is crazy. I don't know. All I can do is speculate on the actions of that human. Okay? For us, common folk, And I mean those of us that haven't been validated by how much money we've acquired, because let's be clear, that's what validates you in this country. How much money, land, possessions that you've acquired. That gives you an ascension, a certain status, as well as what you do. Actors, just entertainers as a whole, including sports, politicians, and again, the rich and what we call powerful, right? Because with the money comes the power. I think Al Pacino playing Tony Montana in Scarface said it best. And first you get the money, and then you'll get the power, and then you get the girls. Because, you know what? I'm never going to say that. Yes, I am. I'm me. I'm true to myself, because you can buy people. I was going to say you could buy women, but it's not limited to women. You can buy people. It's called hiring. It's called signing. You're buying people to produce for you. That's what that is. So when you look at these facts, when it comes to what Kanye West said recently, I know one thing. We all talking about him and what he said. We're watching seemingly the rug get pulled from underneath his feet. Will he land on his ass or will he land on his feet? Nobody knows. Time will tell. But people in the black community are separating from him. The latest being Drink Champs. Nori, they got Nori backpedaling. Shout out to Nori and Drink Champs and DJ Effort. They pulling episodes. LeBron and them did an episode with them. They pulling them a lot of affiliations, partnerships that Kanye has or had are being affected. So wherever the brothers at the time of this episode, hey, I wish you well. I don't wish nobody wrong. But it made me think. Y'all know I'm a thinker. You know, I digress. But this isn't a digression. This is directly correlated to what's going on and what Kanye said and the things he is experiencing and enduring because of it. It made me think, why can't we say anything bad about Jewish people? So to me, when you say Jewish, it's like saying Catholic or Baptist or non-denominational or Buddhist. The research I've done, and I've done quite a bit, I will share with you, and I'm going to do my best to share the links. But Judaism is a religion. It's not a people. But there's some, conflicting opinions about that as well. But mostly, Jews are of the Judaism religion. That's why they're called Jews. That's why people of the Baptist faith are called Baptists. That's why those of the Catholic faith are called Catholics. Now we can talk about anything and about anybody else here in America. You could say whatever you want. You will not suffer a fraction of the heat and the backlash that you get if you say something against Jews. Why is that? That's my question. Scratching my eye. You ever get that eye itch? Like underneath your eyelid? But that's my question. Why is it that when you say something against Jews, you are automatically labeled anti-Semitic? And here comes the fire on your ass. The only prominent person that I know, the only prominent person I know that has even remotely come close to getting away with it is Minister Louis Farrakhan. That's the only person I know. And even though he is a national figure of sorts, he must be suppressed, right? When it comes to, now I don't know what this brother and the, Nation of Islam is doing behind the scenes. I know nationally the biggest thing they've done, and it's been a while, has been the Million Man March. So I don't know if they, and plus he's up there in age. I don't know who's going to succeed him. I'm not, involved in that circle. So I don't know. But maybe they've, done things or persuaded him to stay suppressed. I mean, he's been on 60 Minutes. He's been all the way, but for the most part, he's condemned in America. American society publicly condemns Farrakhan. Right? But that's the only person I know that has spoke out openly against Jewish people and gotten away with it. So here we are past the mid-October point. Weather's cooling down. Halloween's around the corner. Holiday season is here. And we have Kanye West lighting a national firestorm again. And seemingly, people, companies, establishments are so shook, so frightened at being painted as anti-Semites that is suspect to me. Now, like I said, I have to choose my words wisely here. And even though my podcast is mildly successful, I'll say that. I have not risen to national prominence or even regional prominence. I may be semi-prominent on my block, okay? Please support the show, please. Help share the show. I know a lot of the audio that's why I actually support the show. I'm a one-man band. I'm doing it all by myself. I don't know nothing about, producing, audio. I know a lot of audio is, I'll just say, hard to listen to sometimes. I try to do the best at editing I could do, but, from an audio engineering point, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm learning as I go. Okay? That's just the facts of the matter. Help! I got a lot to say. Meaningful, insightful, intelligent, and interesting things to say. Help me say it. Support the show. Support the show. So why or who or why and who are the powerful Jewish people that has established this fright, this amount of fear? Because, like I said, you can say whatever the fuck you want about anything else. You can talk about babies. You can talk about black people. You can talk about white people. You can talk about cars. You can talk about the president. You can talk about anything else here in America. Anything. You talk about Jewish people, oh, it's a problem. It's a big problem. So I tried to understand why. I can't say I came to a firm conclusion, but I am going to share some things with you that I've learned. One, let's start. The definition, the adjective, anti-Semitic. Anti-Semitic is defined as hostile to or prejudiced against Jewish people. For example, anti-Semitic marks were posted on the site. When I saw that word and started thinking about it and analyzing it, I said, that's anti. So there must be a Semitism. True enough, the definition of Semitism is, there's a couple of definitions, but I'll tell you the one that most concerned me. One of the definitions of the word Semitism is policy or predisposition favorable to Jews. It bears repeating. The word Semitism is defined as, or defined in part as, predisposition favorable to Jews. I want to think about that for a second. I want to talk about that for a second. There is a word, Semitism, that defines a predisposition favorable to Jews. Can you think of a word? And I'm black, so I'm going to relate things to the black experience. But can you think of a word that is defined as predisposition favorable to black people? Now, I know based on what I said earlier, that's apples and oranges, right? Because Jews are people of a Jewish religion. Judaism. Black people are not the people of a black religion. However, even though Jewish people are defined by the Judaism religion, they are still seen almost as a race of people, even though in America, the majority of Jews, ethnically and race-wise, define themselves as white. When you fill out any form or application that has race on it, do you see the word Jew? Nope. Black, white, Asian, Latino, Hispanic, stuff like that. Jewish is not an ethnicity. However, it is seen as such when we talk about the Jews. And I got more on that coming up in a moment. But what is a word that is defined as predisposition favorable to blacks? Predisposition favorable to whites? Well, you might have what? Do you know where I'm going? White supremacy? He's a white supremacist. You don't hear so much black supremacist, or he's a racist. If you say the word racist to somebody, it almost is immediately interpreted as a white person being racist towards a black person. Right? So based on that information, where are the words, you got anti-Semitic, which Semitic is predisposition towards Jews, right? Where's the anti-Blacketic? The anti-Negroetic? And things of that nature. Where are those words at? And I'm comparing in today's episode, mostly, the Jewish people versus the black people. And I won't even say versus, but a comparison. Say, yo, Mike, you sure you want to do this show? Listen, like I said, I am not anti-Semitic. If you listen to any of my episodes, I'm not racist towards anyone, even the white racist that wants to hang me from a tree. I love everyone. And I am going to do my best to be careful not to say anything in this episode that is going to cause an uproar. When I was talking to my wife a little while ago, she walked into my office while I was doing the research. She's like, we started talking about this stuff. And, I was just, thinking through some things. And I said, if I don't do the fluff. I don't do the bullshit just to get clicks. My show will eventually blow up because it has substance. It's also entertaining, hopefully humorous, but the love will shine through. That's where my show will blow up from. It's not because you got 5 chickens skipping rope or, a frog on a skateboard. It is not because of no dumb shit. I'm not contributing to the dumbing down of America. This show is for people that like edutainment, that like education and entertainment. But everybody wants to click the dumb shit. Or them girls on Instagram. God damn, oof. I fall victim to them traps too. So I know, but I look for a couple minutes and I'm done. Cause you could literally look at that shit all day. Just like YouTube. And I know I digress, but just like YouTube, you ever start a YouTube? Oh, I got a break. I got 10 minutes break. Next thing you know, 3 hours have gone by cause you went down the YouTube rabbit hole. Is it helping us? No. No, that's Mike's opinion. No, we're getting dumber by the second. I'm not trying to contribute to that. Do you understand? So, the anti-black ethic, anti-Negro ethic, anti-Semitic, where are those words for us? Now, I'm going to dive deeper into some comparison, but like I said, I'm not trying to get canceled. I'm doing my best not to say anything that will even remotely be perceived as anti-Semitic. What I'm doing here is exploring the differences and asking a question and entertaining dialogue as to why, because that's what it made me feel. Why can't you say nothing about Jewish people? It made me wonder. And I started thinking, it's the land of free speech, right? You can say anything about anybody. What's the deal with Jewish people? Why do you get put on blast if you say anything, even remotely derogatory? Now, I think Kanye West, like I said, has a history of shit, but this latest joint with the White Lives Matter shirt had people let him speak, wanted to see what he had to say about it. Hence, this has segued into him opening his mouth about Jewish people. Now, it is said, I don't know, I'm not technically in the entertainment business, born and raised in New York, I was out there in the streets, I know a lot of famous people, been to a lot of high profile parties, blah, blah, blah. Okay? But to them, I'm just a common man. That's what I want to stay. I like my anonymity. I like being anonymous in the crowd. I like not being famous. But when you ask people, when you look for opinions about Jewish people, a lot of people indicate that they are in powerful and influential positions here in the United States of America. Or as some people call it, the divided states of America, which I think is definitely a more accurate description. Division is rampant. And it is enthusiastic. Now, I don't know if there's a network of powerful puppeteers that are in control of America that just so happen to be Jewish. I don't know that. I don't know. I know some people subscribe to that theory. Therefore, as I'm thinking about this, I'm wondering, can that theory be substantiated? Where did this fever of backlash come from when you say anything derogatory about Jews? Where does this just ferocious backlash come from if you appear to be anti-Semitic? Because as a black man, like I said, the words that I just made up, anti-blacketic and anto-negroetic, has been going on since what, 1619? And it was beyond that. But like I said, I was going to dive in a little deeper because this show could probably go on for a long, long time, but I always try to keep my shows to an hour in respect for your time. You know what I'm saying? The first known use the word anti-Semitic, supposedly, based on my research, came around 1854. Prior to the Holocaust. I want to be clear that I am sympathetic and empathetic to any genocide, to any murders, to any violence. I'm anti-violent. I am non-violent. I know it is necessary on planet Earth to survive. Just even in a natural state. If you are Christian and you believe in the Bible, then Adam was here living with the animals just fine. The animals didn't attack him because they had no need to fear him. And then Eve came along and the whole shit went downhill. Anyway, another episode. But in the world that I was born into, if somebody dropped me in, I don't know, Yellowstone Park or some other wilderness, I've got to find a way to protect myself, clothe myself, feed myself. And if they had dropped me in, Yellowstone in the last 300 years, I better watch myself. 'Cause bears, they ain't playing. Big cats, they ain't playing. Snakes, they ain't playing. Spiders, scorpions, I can go down the list of animals that will kill you. So violence, and some human animals, let's just be clear. So violence is necessary to defend yourself and protect yourself. I know that. I'm not naive. But murder of another human being, I think is atrocious. Those that are regular listeners, first of all, thank you for doing that. Long-time listeners, I appreciate you. First-time listeners, I appreciate you too. But I'm looking for Shangri-La. I'm looking for utopia. I'm a dreamer. I want to say I know it'll never happen on this planet, but I don't want to remove all hope. I don't want to be hopeless, but I would like to find another planet. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. This world is violent and maybe about to wash itself clean again. I don't know. The poles may shift, climate change, asteroids, man-made war, nuclear war. I don't know. The Holocaust was the systematic state-sponsored persecution and murder of 6 million European Jews by the Nazi German regime and its allies and collaborators. The Holocaust was an evolving process, and it took place throughout Europe between 1933 and 1945. The Nazi persecution of the Jews began with hateful words and escalated to discrimination and dehumanization. And it culminated in genocide. The consequences for Jews were definitely horrific. And some say that suffering and death was not just limited to them. What the Holocaust does show, though, is that when one group is targeted, all people are vulnerable. These things happen. There are Holocaust deniers out there that say it never happened. I'm not here to debate one way or another. I am going to say the Holocaust happened for the sake of this episode. The Holocaust happened. African American slavery in the United States. African slavery. From 1619 to 1865. Holocaust was 12 years. African slavery was 246 years. And in my opinion, still happening. It didn't stop with the Emancipation Proclamation in 1865. Still happening to this day. Just not as blatant. Okay? I mentioned those dates about the Holocaust and African slavery in the United States. 6 million Jewish people. Right? In the 18th century alone, it is estimated that 6 to 7 million enslaved Africans were imported to the quote-unquote New World. You know why it's estimated? Because don't nobody fucking know. Nobody knows for sure. But you can best believe it was millions because according to the 1860 census, 5 years before the Emancipation Proclamation, 4.5 million people, Africans, were enslaved, according to the 1860 census. That's after a couple of 100 years of the slave trade. Millions and millions and millions of people tortured, enslaved, and murdered over 246 years versus 6 million people dehumanized and killed over 12 years. I want to be very clear. It's all horrible. It's all horrendous. It is all somewhat comparable, but not really. Why do I say that, you ask? Well, off the bat, some people are going to say, well, you biased because you black. You're only seeing this through the lens of the black experience. No. I deal with the facts. Or at least what are known as facts. There are some things that are undeniably fact. Clouds appear white. Fact. Based on the information that I just stated about the Holocaust and the Jews and black people and African slavery, you could argue which one is worse. For me, even if I was not black, I would still say African slavery seems worse. And you say, well, why? I tell you why. It's still going on. Jewish people are the number one attacked religious group in the United States. number one attacked religious group in the United States, according to hate crime statistics. However, if black people being portrayed the way they are on the news was a hate crime statistic, if the amount and disproportionate amount of black people incarcerated were a hate crime statistic, if the myriad of derogatory factors that are ingrained in the system, otherwise known as systemic, and there are many points, housing, employment, I mean, it's education, all of these were, if all these points were considered hate crime statistics, we would outdo every race in the United States from a hate crime statistic standpoint. But those things aren't considered hate crime statistics. Those things are just considered America. Or being black in America. Or you happen to be a descendant of an enslaved person in America. This is why it is laughable to black people who, when a certain political party says, let's make America great again. When was it ever great for black people, for African American people? When? Never. That's when. And it still isn't. Now, have we made progress in the area of civil rights? Yes, but it was a fight. Blood, sweat, tears, and lives were involved. It wasn't given. It was forced. It was taken. I'm not bitter. I'm not angry. It may sound like that, but I'm not. I am passionate. When I see the feelings that come out, that are expressed when somebody says the slightest derogatory thing about a Jewish person, I wonder, where is that same enthusiasm about black people? Say what you want about the Black Lives Matter movement, or excuse me, about the Black Lives Matter organization. And I don't know all the ins and outs, but might be some problem with money management there. Perhaps. But the Black Lives Matter movement involved people of all colors and all races. When George Floyd lost his life. Rest in peace, Mr. George Floyd. People reacted to that injustice. Even though that was the straw that broke that camel's back. There's a million other straws underneath that one. So, people got tired of being tired and wanted to stand up. The advent of the cell phone camera has changed the game. Because now, when, before that, people say, black people complaining, I didn't even do nothing to cop with my ass. No, that didn't happen. People now see that it happens. People now have a glimpse of what it is to walk in the shoes of a black person, of an African American person. There are stories emerging every day about home appraisals, hundreds of thousands or $1 million undervalued because it's a black person living in the house. Racial discrimination has saturated every form of life in the United States, and it's exhausting. Nobody wants to talk about it. Who wants to talk about it? I don't want to talk about it, but we have to talk about it. I have to. We got to keep this at the forefront. How did Jewish people position their Jewishness? Position the horrors, the horrendousness of the Holocaust to be such a trigger, such a catalyst, such an incendiary thought. And how do we bring that same energy to the horrors of racism for black people in the United States? Asian people started suffering hate crimes. Bills were introduced. Laws were passed. People see black people as all right. Oh, civil rights movement, y'all are good. You're integrated now. You can do stuff. No. I often give the analogy. So, I cut you with a butter knife. And then I cut you with a straight razor. Which one's going to be worse? Make no mistake, slavery is the straight razor. Not only does it take way longer to heal than that butter knife wound, the scar is going to be far less attractive, and it's going to itch for decades. Don't ask me how I know, but I'm here to tell you. I am from the streets of New York City, and I can tell you this is a fact. If you think the results of American slavery, which are now one of the byproducts being racism at a systemic level and all other levels, is remedied, then you're a fool. Do you understand what I'm telling you? December 6, 1865, the 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution was ratified, outlawing slavery. 1865. From 1619 to 1865. It's 246 years of slavery. I'm not defending Kanye West for what he said. I am not anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish, anti-white, anti-anybody. I'm not. I love you. And I love every living thing, every living creature on this planet, from poison ivy to the Ku Klux Klan, to Jewish people, Asian people, Latino people, people from India, indigenous people, Native American people. I love people. I love humanity. I love life. Understand me when I say this. I've listened to and read a lot and ingested a lot of information over these last couple of days, and I could not help but come to the conclusion that I have. And that conclusion is merely a question. Why can't you say anything about Jewish people? Why is the word anti-Semitic so cemented and warrant such strong reactions? when black people suffered too. A 246-year Holocaust that included slavery, torture, rape, and murder. Where's the anti-question mark? You fill in the blank with the question mark. Where is that word for us? Where is that fierce reaction for us? That's the question that I have. I hope you're doing okay out there today. I truly hope you are. I hope something brings us all together. I hope that you have a great holiday season if you believe in those things. My family and I do celebrate those things. And I'm going to try not to eat too much this Thanksgiving. I'm going to be in my son's candy bucket though, like I do every year. Wait till he go to sleep and I rate it. For all the stuff basically I know he ain't going to eat, but I rate it. But be careful out there. Check your kids' candy. It just seems natural because you got evil people out there. I hope you're doing okay. Thank you for taking the time to listen to the Mike's Opinion podcast. I am Mike. Thanks again for listening.
Thank you so much for listening to Mike's Opinion. Logic Unleashed.